All right, tips and tricks when you gotta stay home and you got WD-40 cans and none of them work. So you can hear there's stuff in there, but you go to spray it and literally, I mean, you got no air left, or little to no air left at all. But you can hear there's still in the can. So, I mean, this one's like half full yet. So what I did is I went to the store, and this is not my own little tip and trick. I'm just reiterating for you guys to know you can do this. I got myself some just tire valves from Tractor Supply. It was like $3.50 for 2 of them. So what you do is you take the cap off, just literally pull the cap right off, and you got this little stem in there. And what happens is when you push down on it, there's nothing that comes out, so it needs to be repressurized. So what you can do is the specs on WD-40 from the factory are 95 PSI, that is. So right now there's probably like 0 in it. So what I did is I hooked up my air compressor, and I have myself a little gauge because I don't have one, just a tire pressure gauge because I don't have one on my connector setup. And you just keep checking it, but you put the valve on there. And what happens is that stem is just longer than the valve inside of here. So it depresses, it goes on there so you can refill this can with some air. So just, I'll just show you real quick. Shut the compressor off. Anyway, you can check your pressure. Right now you can see my gauge is not out. And it's slowly filling it. So I got around 15 or 20, but if you're to put the cap back on, you're probably not going to get that much. You might get a little bit out of it, but like I said, you can put 95 in it. But I would not recommend that. I would go maybe 60 or 70 at the most, and then you get your pressure back. And this can stem is stuck. Maybe that's not the right cap. Anyway, you get the idea. And so you shake the can up, and there you go. You got your pressure back. Good luck, have fun. I know it's not perfect video, and this light behind me is terrible, but tip 108 when you're home at a stay-at-home order. Have fun. See ya.